Welcome, everyone. This is the Viva Connections and SharePoint Framework Biweekly Sync. My name is Hugo Bernier, and I will be your host for today. We have a packed agenda, as always. We will have our community project updates, all the cool community projects that we have. We have a lot of busy people, and we want to make sure that we celebrate their work. We'll have picture time with Together Mode, so get yourself ready. We want to show how awesome this community is. And then we'll have the stars of the day. We'll have three demos. We'll have Ejaz, who will talk about targeting news item based on user preference using the Microsoft Graph Open Extension integration. Sumit Jadon will talk about bulk updates using SPFx extension. And Lakshmana Rao Duppala is going to talk about building adaptive card extensions that show weather information for office locations. Let's get started. We have a lot of URLs for a lot of resources that are available to you, and I will read every single one of them right now. Actually, no, I'll skip that. We do have videos, we have LinkedIn groups with discussions, we have lots of open source initiatives, and we have lots of samples, as well as a list of all our open source initiatives and samples, and they can all be found at aka.ms/community/home. Please go take a look. Now, we have community calls, as mentioned before, and this is a list of community calls that we have. We have weekly Microsoft 365 and Power Platform calls, which are calls with Microsoft speakers, where you hear it directly from the horse's mouth, what's happening at Microsoft. Then monthly, we have the Power Platform community calls. We have also our Office add-in monthly calls. And then we have the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform community call, which is the bi-weekly call, as well as the Viva Connections and SharePoint Framework, also bi-weekly call. And we just take turns switching between the Microsoft 365 Power Platform community and Viva Connections on every Thursdays or every other Thursdays. And if you want to get all the recurrent invites for these community calls, you can go to aka.ms/community/calls. On the next Power Platform and Microsoft 365 weekly call, see what I did here? We have the latest news from the Microsoft engineering on the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform topics. We'll, of course, always have our community call, our community together mode group photo, our demos with Dan Wallen, who's going to show Microsoft Graph to retrieve files, chats, and sending messages to teams. Waldeck is going to talk about debugging API requests with Microsoft 365 Developer Proxy and Chrome DevTools. And then Elliot is going to talk about Power AI Hack Winner Grand Prize. And if you'd like to present, you have something cool to show, please do not hesitate. We welcome everyone to present on these calls. And all you need to do is to go to aka.ms/community/request/demo. And then we'll actually look at the content you want to demo, and we'll try to find the best community call for you. But we absolutely welcome everyone to contribute to these calls. That's what these calls are about. Now, if you're not sure about how to contribute to these calls, we got some cool stuff happening. David, do you want to talk about that?
I do want to talk about it, Hugo. How did you know? So, Friends, Sharing is Caring is a program that we all know and love. It's been a little, I don't know, in hibernation lately, and we apologize for that. But we are working on making it better, setting it up to be scalable, to fit the needs of the community. We have sessions that have been recorded. We're getting those videos set up. We have office hours, which I was working on with bookings just today. So keep an eye out for all that. The sessions are made to provide you hands-on guidance and or opportunities to ask questions in the areas that you might want to help in or need help in contributing to the community. Like, hey, I'm getting ready to submit a pull request, and I just want to get a second set of eyes on this. That's absolutely a valid situation for the office hours. So keep an eye out for that. We'll be tweeting about it, sharing about it, and letting everybody know when it is available. But once you have contributed to the community, we want to recognize it with the recognition program. This is powered by Credly. Yes, that same Credly that gives you those accredited and formal official badges. And of course, we kicked into November, so we've got our slice of samples and season of getting all ready for you to get those badges into your accounts. Just got to submit a contribution to the community of any type, and we will be tracking you. So just go to aka.ms/community/recognition and fill in your GitHub information and your email address, and we will make sure that we track all the work in a non-stalky way, of course, right? It's all good. We will track the work you're doing in the community, and we will send you those badges in a working on some this morning. So keep an eye on those email inboxes. And thank you for all that you're doing. Hugo, back to you.
Awesome. Thank you, David. I think we need a few more badges on this slide.
I'll work on that.
See a little bit of white space on the screen.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about our open source projects. We have a lot of open source initiatives, and we want to, again, recognize the hard work from everyone in the community. And to get started, let's talk about PnPjs with Julie.
Hey, thank you. All right, so we did do version 3.20 release on November 14th. We were a little bit late on that one. In our defense, we are very deeply into version 4 development, and so we get a little distracted. We do have a couple of fixes, though. We did add an update to the add chat message parameter object for the graph endpoint for adding chat messages. And there was a pretty interesting bug with graph batching when requesting user photos in a batch, and how the data comes back to that. It took the whole team sort of brainstorming for a while to figure out how we were going to fix that, and Bo delivered a great solution for that, and that went out in the 3.20 release. So that happened. As I said, we're deeply involved in V4 updates. You can check out the changelog to see what we've done so far. There is a V4 branch. And as always, if there's PRs that are merged in for version 3, in the meanwhile, there is a V3 nightly build. You can follow us on the LinkedIn Microsoft 365 platform community area for updates, as well as sometimes when I feel like being on the artist formerly known as Twitter, I will also post updates there. So follow us, and I'm back. That's all I have. So back to you, Hugo. I'm not as smooth as David. I guess I need some lessons.
No one can be. And
No,
that's right. I
really
forgot that Bo is part of the PnPjs team.
He is a huge part of the PnPjs team. Saving
Let's
our
agree
bacon.
to disagree.
Right. We will then, because saving our bacon.
Now let's talk about the CLI for Microsoft 365 with our friend Adam. Adam?
Yeah, sure. So we are in the middle of the month, so we have a new beta ready for you with a ton of great updates. So we have all the commands that will allow you to manage your Azure AD or Entra ID administrative units, or all the commands needed to manage your Microsoft 365 profile cards properties, which is really cool because this was a quite recent new feature in the Microsoft Graph. We now support SPFx upgrade and Doctor. We have some validate projects for 1.18.1, which is quite cool. And also we updated the create site command, which now you can allows you to create a new SP site with an app catalog in one single command, which is bananas, because before you had to do it in 2 commands separate, and now we can do it in one go. If you want to try the latest beta, be sure to add next tag in the npm install Docker run command, and we are slowly progressing to our next minor, which will be at the end of the month. Please do follow us on Twitter or X, whatever you want, our community Discord server, and at the last Monday of every month we have an open call at 2 p.m. Central European time. We have office hours, so you can find us on the call in Discord waiting for you. We can talk about whatever you want regarding Microsoft 365 and CLI, hook together some code and stuff like that. So be sure to connect, be sure to say hi. That's all. Back to you, David.
Thank you, Adam. And then no, no worries. Our own team can't even tell us apart, folks. So, and the CLI, by the way, the CLI for Microsoft 365, if you're doing any sort of SPFX development, is absolutely a must-have on your workstation, because it really helps with managing your profiles, renaming projects, upgrading projects, and so on. But Adam, I think it's back to you with the dev proxy.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared for that, I think, but okay, I can for sure try. So folks, if you are doing any kind of application that uses any kind of API, this is a must-have tool for you. There is currently no Copilot that will do this stuff for you, so be sure to have it in your toolset. This is in the Microsoft 365. The proxy will help you simulate API behaviors, mock them. basically test out everything regarding APIs, and the team is doing an awesome work and released some cool new features in the latest release, some small bug fixes. One that stands among many other features, also many announcements from the Ignite, is that currently it's possible to work with from DevTools, which is really great. So now you can move out from the console to the DevTools you are probably already using when doing web development, and Waldek will be presenting it on the next community call. So be sure to check it out and be sure to use this tool to gain confidence when you're writing your applications that are using APIs. Thanks. Back to you, Hugo.
Thank you, Adam. And we're going through our speakers alphabetically. Next is Alex to talk about reusable SPFx controls. Alex?
Thank you, Hugo. So we are preparing for our next release. There are a lot of great enhancements in there, including bug fixes and new features to existing controls. Still one thing to do, upgrade to 1.18.1. So it's on me. Sorry about delaying the release, basically. Hopefully in the next week or so, we will have new versions for the PnP React controls and property controls as well. And that's all I have. Back to you, Hugo.
Thank you. And Adam, we miss you. Why don't we bring you back for Viva Connections Toolkit?
Yeah, sure. So folks, this is a VS Code extension that will give you a huge boost when regarding everything around SharePoint framework development. So if you are doing any SPFx development, be sure to have that installed in VS Code. And we released a new minor release where we now add support for the SPFx version 1.18.1. So it will validate or give you guidance how to upgrade your project from any SPFx version to that one. And also we upgraded the CI/CD pipeline. So now it will generate the YAML using internally a task that will be setting node 18 for any SPFx that are 1.18 and further on. We are also planning a new minor release today over the night, so which will give you confidence that you are using the correct version of Human Generator, because there's a quite recent bug in SPFx. But if you will be using this toolkit from tomorrow, this will also help you avoid this bug and will validate if you are using the correct version of Human Generator, and if not, it will install it for you as well. And we started working on the V3. Really awesome features are yet to come, and I will be talking about those on the probably another community calls that are yet to come. Be sure to check this tool. Visit the aka.ms/viva/vscode. Happy coding, everybody. This is the last time was not on. Probably back to you, Hugo. Last time.
Thank you. And let's pass it on to our friendly PnP Modern Search developer, Casper.
Yeah, thank you, Hugo. We're going just as usual. We are going slowly but steadily, and we have a few things coming up, most related to layouts. And we will see how we will progress with this one. And if you need support, well, we always have the issues and the discussion lists on the project, and we also have office hours if you got stuck with something. Back to you, Hugo.
Thank you. And to talk about the PnP SPFx samples, it's me. We have SPFx extensions and SPFx web parts. We absolutely welcome all contributions. And in fact, we do have some contributions, pull requests that are pending. But I was on vacation and I was busy switching jobs. But I promise when I'm back from vacation and switching jobs, I will be processing all the pull requests and we will be scheduling all the community calls. We also have adaptive card extensions. And to talk about them, let's bring Derek. Derek?
Yep. That's me. We have a great new sample from Joao Mendes this week, pulling in sales orders from a Microsoft Graph connector. So I just merged that one in earlier today. But as always, if you have some ACEs that you're building, please submit them, and I would love to see them. Thanks, everybody. Back to you.
Fantastic. And now this is your opportunity to prove that you're a cool community member. If you want to turn on your camera, we'll use picture time. We'll do picture time. And David's going to take over the screen so that he can capture.
Yes. So you should be seeing my screen. We've got a bear. All right. Yeah, we still got some room. Still
There you
got
go.
some room. All right. That was very strange seeing Stephanie just slide into her seat with a cat. It was like she was
We're-
floating. All right. All right. A couple more seats, everybody. All right, let's kick this off. All right, see everybody still. All right, let's do some waving, hand waving. Woo! You are all incredible, fantastic community faces. Thank you all. All right, cool. Hugo, back to you, or David, whoever you are. I don't know.
Yeah, I know it's hard to tell. I can't tell us apart anymore. All right, so let's move on to the stars of the day, and we're right on time, by the way, with our demos. So we have 3 cool demos: Ejaz, Sumit, and Lakshmana. But let's get started with Ejaz Hussain, who's going to talk about targeting news item based on user preferences, Microsoft Graph Open Extension integration. Ejaz, the floor is yours, or the screen is yours.
Yeah, hello guys, thanks guys. Let me share my screen to start with. Hopefully, let me know if you can guys see my screen so we can kickstart with this presentation.
Beautiful. We can see your screen and we can hear you.
Right. Hi everyone. My name is Ejaz. I'm a developer and architect working for a company called Advania. We just renamed from Content and Cloud to this Advania. Here's my LinkedIn handle and Twitter if you have any question or if you want to talk about SPFx, Office 365, Azure, please get in touch. So today we are looking into a scenario where we trying to get the targeted news for a user using the Graph Open extensions. So if you go into here, so what we're trying to achieve here, basically, is most of the times, especially when you're working on intranet applications, you always wanted to kind of get a targeted news. So when user, if you're working on an intranet application which has like a 7 or 8 countries involved, and every time they go into the home page, they wanted to get the news from their own country, so they don't want to get or especially the one they like to see the news from. So they might want to see the news from finance or sales, so they can basically choose where they want to get the news they're more interested in on the homepage. So there's a couple of ways to do that. I mean, previously, from my experience, we were making use of the user profiles and storing the user preference in there. But this is another option alternate to the user profile where you can make use of Microsoft Graph extensions or specifically Microsoft Graph Open extension. So and you can save the user preference in there, similar you do in the user profile, and then based on when the user hit on the home page of your intranet, you go and grab the user settings, user preference from the open extension, and then use that part of your SharePoint Online search API if you're building the search query or however you want it to. Basically, it might be the simple SharePoint REST API call are you making. So you're able to get the user preferences via the Graph Open extension, and then you can use in your application and show the user the targeted content which they are interested. So we are in part of this demo. I built 2 different web parts. One where we have a user preference web part, and by the way, this preference part could be on the home page or could be somewhere. This is just an example, so you can choose where you wanted to put. You could use a SPFx extension or some other way of doing it, but idea is basically you need to give a option for user to change their preference. They might want to add more departments into their preference they want to get the news from. They might want to remove preference. So you want to give a user some sort of interface they can update preference in Microsoft Graph Open extension. So that is one web part. Another web part for the demonstration, I've got the curated news. So now when user go to that web part page or wherever the web part is, I'm getting those preferences and displaying user the news based on their selected preference. So if you are new to the Microsoft Graph API Open extension, is it provide an easy way to directly add untyped properties to resource in Microsoft Graph. You can see on the left hand side the supported resource as for now is you can add properties and the user. That's what I'm using at the moment. So because you wanted to target to individual user, you could also add properties under group, context, devices, and all these are resources are supported. Now, how do we do that? So if you see, you can go to the endpoint extension, extension endpoint to see, you can create multiple open extensions. So that you could see here, I have an extension and then this is my unique ID, but you could name it any unique ID here, but that's just preferred way of doing it, your tenant name and then anything you are trying to save here. And when I go in there, I have the way for this part, I'm adding some of the title of the department as well as the term GUID associated with that because the data coming from the term store. So that's how I'm saving. But is it kind of an array? But you could save as whatever data you want to save in. You just give you an idea. This is from Microsoft Graph Open Explorer. So if you go next one, so the user journey, how before we get to the demo is basically you go and allow user to select the preferences. And once user has selected the preferences, select the one off. You don't have to do it again and again because it's saved in open in Graph Open Extension. And then you try when you go and try get the targeted news, you go and grab that open your preferences and use part of your search queries. So let's do the demo. So if I go to show my right, so this is my the first web part, which is the user preferences. So you could see here I have a one preference is selected as a business development, and where does this business development come from? Is I have a departments term set, and I have so many different departments. So what I've done is for the if you added the web part, so you can add the term set grid for here. So this is where I'm getting the departments, and this is the name I wanted to use for my extension, because some point if user is a new user in your application, what I'm trying to doing in the backend is if it doesn't have any this Graph Open extension, it will go and create for that user. If user has that extension already created, then go and it will update the preference within that one. So you need to use the name, any name you wanted to use. So in here, if I just show you if I go and add, if I click on this setting icon, and then you can, this is the data coming from the term store with the department. So I want to get more news from the sales, human resource, marketing, hit save. Okay, and then what happening is I've got here. Now if I'll show you, because I had a one business development. So if let me go and hit run query, you can see that the new preference has been added as well as with my business development. So I can go now to my target global news. Previously, I was getting data only with the business development. So let me clear the cache. So now it's going to go and try use all this my preferences and fetch more data. You could see I can see more data than previously because it's able to use my preference in there. So every time now user go there, let's suppose it's your home page and this is your main news items, they can see the items based on what their preferences. And this scenario could be used for anything in your business scenarios. So in here in this web part, so I just want to show you how I did that before I show you the code. So in here again, I'm using the same. Because open extension ID, you need this one because we wanted to retrieve data. And then for the simplicity of this demo, I'm using my managed property name here. This should not be here, or you want to have in the code, so you want to use. So that is I'm using to basically retrieve my different news items. So based on the department. So let me jump back to the quickly code. How did I do that? If I just if I go to my web parts preferences, and I go to there you go. So nothing special here. If I go to the container, preferences, then so here, this is in the here preferences, everything is happening. So if you see here, so when when I try to get user preferences, this is first I'm getting get user preferences with extension name, and I'm setting into the set tags I've got in here as a tag list. So when the first load, so I'm getting from the open extension. So once I've got this one, then I've got something called picker. If I wanted to user pick more, I can just go in there and I'm fetching the taxonomy to get the terms, all the terms from the department. And then this is where I'm making a object for the open graph open extension. So user settings, I have so this is how you initialize it, and then the name of the extension which seen it, and then the selected tags. So when you have this object, I'm getting the extension. So here I'm checking if the extension is null, I'm going and basically create the extension and add these values. If extension exists, I'm going to update the extension with the values. So you can check these things. So because you don't wanna over might be some people is going first time on that page, and you want to make sure that you create for them if this doesn't exist. So the data is being saved in that with the using preference web part. So if you go to the created news one, so if you go to created news, we get fetch data here. We get user preference, and that is giving me user my preferences, all the tags. Once I've got all the tags, I'm basically composing into the query, which is search API. So you could see here, I'm creating a query template and using my content type ID and the news item I wanted to get out. And then this is the filter query, which my managed property name. This is how I want to compose the search query. So once I've got the query, I'm just basically making with the PnP, making a REST API call to get the result back and then showing on the page for the user. That's all from me. If you guys have any question. And one thing I probably would say, sorry, one thing I would say is you do need this Microsoft Graph API permissions. Please check this sample is already in the repo. You need this permissions to be able to write into the OpenAI Graph extension. That's all.
All right, very, very cool. This is David stepping in for Hugo. He had to go, so I am moving in. You can just call us Huvid. We're really the same person, so feel free to reference us that way. Ejaz, thank you. This is very, very cool. Obviously, in the interest of time, we will move on. Any questions you have in the chat? We have the demo or the sample ready in the chat as well, so feel free to check that out, and we'll have it in the show notes as well. Thank you, Ejaz. Really always appreciate your awesome demos. Next up is Sumit on bulk update using SPFx extensions. So Sumit, feel free to take on over the screen.
Yeah, thanks, David, for the opportunity. And hello, everyone. Let me share my screen quickly. Yeah.
All right. Yep. Yep. Looks great.
Yeah, so today's topic is all about the bulk update using the SharePoint framework command sets. And we're basically focusing more onto the multiple lookup column values using the command sets, which is really a tough thing to do in SharePoint. So that's the main topic about. Let me, before going deep inside of the topic, let me brief about myself. So myself, Sumit Jadon. I'm the lead developer of Modern Workplace for Avanade. Mostly I focus on the internet portals and the cloud-based applications all around the M365 applications, and currently located into Frankfurt, Germany. And these are my social platforms where you can find me. And here we go. So, just jumping into the problem statement. So where we observe this. So seeing into the real business scenarios, we saw like there are many, there's no simplified way or the out-of-the-box way to update the SharePoint metadata columns values for the selected documents or all the documents for the list and libraries. Basically, we have seen for this document libraries where the users or the experienced users wants to bulk update the metadata, and there's no easy way to do. And this is not just about the lookup column, which we are focusing in this session, but it could be with any kind of complex columns that you may be encountering, like management data columns, lookup columns, multi-choice columns, taxonomy fields, which Ejaz just mentioned. So it could be any fields that we can use in the SharePoint forms for the list and libraries. And the main agony part for this is like if the lookup list crosses the threshold limit, then it's really a pain to add the data or update the data using the out-of-the-box form or the edit grid view mode. So it's really tough that we have encountered with real business scenarios. So yeah, that's from where the problem comes. And let's see what are the out-of-the-box available options. So mostly all the native users use the out-of-the-box edit forms to plug in all the information. If you see, there are materials, there are standard materials. So in this case, I'm basically using this hypothetical scenario of industries mapping their materials. And on the right side, if you see, this is like the advanced users using the edit group functionality where you can do a bulk edit of the documents in a single shot. So this works, but it depends like on the scenario. If it's a lookup list has crossed the threshold, it's really a pain to do this exercise. But if it's a normal list, it works smoothly. So yeah, let's see now the solution architect, like what we have brought to come out of this problem. So this has needs a user input basically. So it can be in any form. Like right now, I'm taking as a input in the text form, but it can be a upload a CSV file or any text file where the user provides the values. And for this scenario, I'm taking the lookup example. It could be the management data, people, multi-choice, or any taxonomy fields type of column, where this data is pushed to the SharePoint list view command set, where all the heavy lifting things happens, where we are checking the business logic, doing the data sanitization, all kind of validations that the business needs. And then finally, if you have the valid content, we try to push the data to the SharePoint. If it's the invalid content, we try to inform the users that it's not valid. So it just gives a message like it's not able to update the data because it's kind of invalid data. So this will be our architect solutions to come out of this problem. And just a brief information about the command set, where we can use it, how can we leverage this command set extensions. So it's basically to plug in your client-side code to inject any custom-side business processes or requirements to suffice your requirements. Also works on the business requirement with the custom commands to be developed. Like you can do lots of stuff using this command sets. And the main focus point is like if you want to have it at the tenant level, yeah, it's quite easily available. If you just want to focus on a particular site collections, that too an option is available. So yeah, it's available based on your needs. Another thing is like, yeah, we have choices like where we want to see these command set buttons. Usually, mostly people prefer at the command bar at the top of the SharePoint list view, and some people do like to use it for particular like few items they can use in the context menu also. So yeah, we have few options to choose, but mostly in this demo, I'm going to showcase in both the cases. So yeah, so I think it's time to jump into the live demo, and let me shift to my application. So this is my SharePoint application where I've tried to create a scenario having the documents. It's just like industry documents. I've prepared a scenario where these are mapped to the materials. So I've created 3 different lists to showcase what are the pain points having this lookup list. So this is the material list, which is tied to my custom solution, SPFx command buttons. And this is the other list where I see the threshold list, like it's already cost some 10,000 items. So let's see how it behaves in all forms. And this is a normal list with few materials, just to see how it works with the normal scenario. So as you see, like preferred way, the end users comes to this, tries to fill in some information test. Just let's give us something test. This is the one which is like bind up with my custom solution. But if you see, this is also, I've just taken a scenario, it has crossed the threshold limit of 5,000 items. So if you see, you have to scroll up. So it loads some bunch of items at the first thing. But if I, for example, if I want to search in for the last item, it takes its own time. And yeah, it's a process that you need to follow to if you're doing in that manner. And yeah, this is, yeah, if you see, it takes some time. It's try to find this item and then finally loads it. So this is the like out of the box way. It takes its own time depending on the data. If it's like simple data, for example, this case, it just adds it easily. But if you see here, this is, yeah, this says it all for you. Like it's already crossed the threshold limit. So this is the, yeah, the normal way that mostly people use. The other way is like, yeah, the advanced way where we use the edit grid view. Yeah, so here also I just want to show you, like, if you see here, it works normally for the normal lookup list where we have few data items to be selected, but the problem comes once we try to use the threshold limit. So it doesn't try to, like, if you try to drag and drop also, it tries to give you an error, but it works normally for the normal lookup list with having a few items. So this is like really a pain point for the clients, and we thought about, like, let's see what are the solution, and the best solution that came to us, like, let's leverage the command set extension. So what I tried to do is basically plugged in our button. Basically, this is the button which is available on, it can be used for all the items. Like, for example, if I click on this, you enter the item and it will be doing its job for all the items, or I can do it for particular folders with few items. So depends on the choice, like how we want to do it. We have the option. So let's do it a quick check. For example, let's do it for all the items. I'll just try to grab some valid items first, just to showcase the positive scenario. So this is, if you see, these are the materials which is already present. Let me show you. Yeah, these are the materials that is already present in the list. Let's see. So here, first step is like we are doing the process check, validating the items, whether it's there or not. It says like it's are available. And if I click on this button, it will try to push all those items. Keeping in mind, like, it depends on the number of items, files, and the things that we're talking about. It takes that amount of time. So, but it usually takes fraction of time, and it's fast to be seen in the UI, but sometimes, depending on if you're processing for like thousands of documents, you have to do a hard refresh to be seen into the screen. But usually it takes a couple of seconds to work out. I've done a few other scenarios just to check whether there are documents or not. So it checks for everything. If there are empty documents folders, it will give you a different type of scenario. So this is one of the scenarios valid. Let's check for the mixed scenario where we have some valid as well as invalid material, and let's try to do it for a particular folder and particular file just to see how it behaves. And here it goes. So in this scenario, I'm validating the material. So if you see, these are the valid material present in that lookup list, and these are the invalid material. So it can happen like someone's trying to pull in the data from somewhere, and it could be outdated data or somewhere. So it will be checked before it tries to update the system. And here the end users will be notified. Yeah, these are the invalid material, won't be processed, won't be updated for the items, but this one will be done. And if I click on update, there should be a message, and usually it takes some fraction of a second, but best is to do a hard refresh. And if you see, it tries to update the data for all the items, the selected items. And yeah, the last scenario is where it's like the simple one, where if someone tries to play around with the system, try to push with the wrong data, it will clearly say like, yeah, it doesn't meet the requirements and it's not available in the system. So basically, this is the one, and covering all the scenarios. And I just want to showcase, like, we have plugged in all the, so you can find it. You can do it this way also. User has a choice. You can do it for that also. You can do it for particular, like if I just want to do it, so it works for the multi-level also, nth level. Like if I go to deep inside, I just want to do for this one, or I just find it I need to do it for particular countries. I can do the selection within all the documents presented to the folder will be updated with this value. So this is the thing, and it works for the threshold limit. What I have tested basically is I've done the regression testing for, like, if the document library itself crosses the threshold limit, this process still works. If the lookup list crosses the threshold limits, it still works. So I think this is one of the solutions that we came up, looking all the business scenarios that people are facing with a lookup list. So this is one of the examples for lookup list, but it happens usually for all the complex types of columns in SharePoint. And here, I think the demo part is over. Let me jump back to my presentation and coming to the full mode. So know about this is just to update you. Like I'm currently working on this feature to enhance it further. So this feature can be enhanced further to using the upload CSV. So no more text box, no more entering of the materials or any kind of stuff that you want to update. You can upload it from the CSV file or text file or any file. So this is also possible. You just take it from somewhere and tries to update the items in one shot. And yeah, this is the business logic. Yeah, we can do furthermore whatever we want to do as part of the process checks. This is quite possible. And I've also tested for this. Can be worked for single value. So my scenario was basically for multiple lookup values. It can be for the single lookup value, single people field, or multiple choice fields. It can be done for any scenarios that we can have in the SharePoint. So it's a good thing to have. Another thing is it can be plugged to any list and libraries. For my case, I've just I'm checking my logic checks. It's just works for document library, but it can be done for any multiple list and multiple libraries. So it works for everything. And this thing works for the other complex types of columns, namely management data columns, multi-choice columns, and other complex types of column effortlessly. So yeah, this is the thing that we have noticed. It works really well. And before I jump in, I think let me show you the source code itself, just to see what we have done with the solution. So solution part, it comes. This is my dialog box that you see once you click on the command button. This is the front end of that dialog box where we have some control text area label buttons just to see, and yeah, some parameters where we pass in the data. Let's come to the main part where I'm doing the heavy lifting part, where we do the logic things. And so this is the scenario where I'm checking for the external users, I'm checking for the permissions, I'm checking for the library. Like if it's matched the library name, then only it shows the button. It won't be available for all the list and libraries. It will be dedicated to particular list and libraries. This is my validate scenario where I just do the REST API calls. So basically, behind the scenes, it's calling the REST API just to check whether the item or the material that is already there in the lookup list or not. If not, it tries to refine the data. And this is my execute button where I check for all the scenarios, like whether it's the selected option. Selected option is the easy option, but if it's like you do just click the bulk update, it takes all the IDs, all the documents in one shot and tries to update for all. So this is a simple scenario where we have the ID, we get it from the events, but this scenario where if you don't do the selection, or if you do the selection, it takes all the IDs and tries to do the update for all the each and every items. And depending on the number of items, it takes the time. So, but I've seen like within seconds, it tries to update all kind of metadata. And quickly navigating to this is the way I'm trying to getting all the nested IDs. So it works for the nth level that I mentioned. It could be at any level, at any number of documents. So it works everything. I'm trying to retrieve some properties just to see if you can do some like filtering with the logic or something we want to do for some particular files or some other files. And this is the main call that does this magic. So I've already given the reference. So this is the thing where we are trying to make a batch request. So this all the items are updated in one shot, like it could be 100 items or 1,000 items, all the items with all the lookup values, or it could be any values that we have pushed in, updates the solution. And so we are using a batch call basically, which I have provided the link, and it works very well. I've tested for I think 1,000 and 5,000 items. It looks good. It's super fast and it works on time. Also, I've tested one of the scenarios that if the file is logged out, because if the file is logged out, it won't update the metadata. So we do inform the users like the files are logged out, can't be done. So that scenario also, this is all about that one. And yeah, SharePoint services, just want to tell you about so I'm checking for the lookup values. Basically, it could be any other values, but it does that part. It checks for everything. And yeah, it takes into account of 500 because that's a threshold for the lookup or any complex values. But it takes and it brings up the data in a good amount of time. And this is the retrieve file properties. Yeah, this is for my use case where I'm trying to get some more information about the documents. And yeah, and jumping back to the slides again. So yeah, references I have used this build your first list view command set. I think this is the good starting point if someone is looking to build command set buttons. And basically it's used for like if you want to do it, the action for the multiple selections or all the selections. So we have some solutions from the Power Platform, Power Automate, but that just work for the selected item. But command set button works for everything. Like if you want to do some bulk things, please use the command sets. Make batch requests. This is the important one which I have tested. This is the classic way where mostly the SPFx PnP SPFx uses the REST APIs to update the samples, and the last one is the GitHub samples where you can find more solutions related to command sets. Over to you, David. I think I've taken a few more minutes, but yeah. And
no problem. We can stay extra for Lakshmana. Great job, Sumit. I know there were some questions in the chat there. We put the links in there. Really well thought out. I really love the use of extensions because I think they don't get enough credit that they deserve. Very, very powerful, which you've displayed here today. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, anybody just go ahead and put those in the chat and somebody can ask them there. But in the interest of time, we will move on to Lakshmana on building adaptive card extension that shows weather information for office locations. So feel free to take it on over.
Yeah, sure. Sure, David. Yeah, that was a great demo, Sumit. Such a valid use case. Yeah, greatly thought out. Thanks. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me know if you can see my screen.
It is sharing, but it's all black. I do see your cursor moving. There we go. It has loaded. Wait. Yes. Nope. Yep. You're good. You had a screenshot of Sumit, so I was like, wait a second. Yeah. All right. Yep. Just throw that in presentation mode, and you're on your way.
Yeah. Sure. Thanks. Thanks, David. Yeah. So yeah, my demo is about building a. We have already built an adaptive card extension that basically shows weather information for our office locations. Firstly, I'm happy and excited for the opportunity to present in this forum. This is my first presentation to such a large audience. Hope I will not disappoint you guys. This is obviously a great platform to learn about latest and greatest things from Microsoft technology space. The ideas that are coming out of these sessions are great. Once you hear them, you'll surely feel the urge to contribute back to the community. That's how it happened to me as well. Although I had a very long career in SharePoint, I never involved in any of these community calls like presenting and all. I'm silently consuming all this knowledge and improving my skill. Finally, I think I broke that barrier and hoping to contribute much more from here on. Yeah. Moving on to next slide. Yeah, it's about me. So my name is Lakshmana Rao Duppala. I work at EcoStar. I'm primarily a .NET developer, which led me to land into the SharePoint world. I've had the opportunity to work with all versions of SharePoint, WSS 3.4, MAS 2007, SharePoint 2010, 13, and 16, and now SharePoint Online as well. My specialization is building workflows, be it using a SharePoint Designer workflows or custom workflow solutions using Visual Studio or any third-party workflows like Nintex or K2, and now the Power Platform. Here is my social links and contact information, just in case if anybody wants to touch base with me. Moving on to the next slide. Yeah, I'm interested in exploring all these technologies, Azure M365 platform and Power Apps, Angular, React, and .NET apps, and whatnot. what is the best place to learn about these things? Obviously, the community calls. This is the place where we've been consuming a lot of new information and putting into work. It's been great so far. And yeah, let's move on to today's agenda. And let me give you a little bit of background of what it is and what is the ask here. Right. So basically, like I mentioned in the title, this is a weather report for our office locations within US. So these are the locations that we see. We have offices located over here. So we try to build a web part that basically shows that information. So let me give you a little bit background. Like ever since the launch of Microsoft Viva Connections in my organization, the curiosity around the dashboard is has grown, and we thought about how to utilize that dashboard space, and that is when I think we looked around building these ASIS, Microsoft Adaptive Card Extensions. I think these are really great. In my view, I think these are tiny little informational units that offers a rich and engaging experience to users. Uh, to quickly, take some actions, and as a result, I think it will empower the employee experience very well. So ASS are definitely a new thing. This is a new component type available in SharePoint framework to build such a rich experience and onto the dashboard, right? And it uses a declarative JSON schema, and that's what the main thing in order to build the UI. So mm, yeah, so yeah, I think as you all know, ASS primarily comes with three kinds of templates, right? One is basic template, image card template, and primary primary text template, I believe. Yeah, that is what we ended up using in here as well. And also it comes with the two views. One is card view and quick view. I'm gonna show you how we have utilized those views in order to render our content in here. So that's about the little background about that and the ask. And let's look at the challenges. I think when it comes to the challenges, if you can have a service that returns a simple JSON like this that we are seeing here, then it would be very easy for us to call that service and then render it inside the control, right? Uh, but for the most part, it would be a paid service if one such exists as well, right? That is the challenge that we also encountered. We also had faced, and so after that, when we are looking for the solutions, what we have done is we looked around and we looked around the tools that we have at our disposal and try to see whether any of those tools can do this one. So surprisingly, I found this Amazon Weather connector inside the Power Apps. Basically, that connector has a two triggers. One is that three triggers, of course, and we ended up utilizing two. One is get current weather and then also get forecast. And now these two calls will get me all the properties that I needed. But then I also have to look at the card in order to determine what is that I'm going to show it on the card. Let's say, for example, if when I looked at the card from the samples repository, this is the card we also took inspiration from, and then we built upon it. So when I looked at this card, these are the properties that we relied on. Let's say, for example, here you see that Redmond, Washington, that is a location, nothing but, and then similarly last updated date and the relevant image, and then current temperature units, and then temperature high and low. These are the least amount of properties that we needed. So from these two calls, I'm able to get those properties. So with that, I think we try to build the solution, and I also you see the below screenshot. We also found out that this connection, for the most part, it is always it is never like down or anything, like it's always good, and there are no issues using this connection at all. So that is the one good thing about that. That is what we realized. And then we started building a solution around by taking these two things into consideration. So what is that we built and how does it work is, let's go to this solution. Let's go to this presentation. And here, yeah, we split that into two parts. One is the step one. We have built a Power Automate job, basically that runs at every 10 minutes. Using this Microsoft connector, what it does is it'll update the entries into the SharePoint list. That is what the first part. So since we have scheduled it every 10 minutes, it is guaranteed we almost get like a near real-time weather information for any of these locations. And the next thing is we built a adaptive card, as you can see in the below screenshot, using that adaptive card uses this SharePoint list information to be able to display inside the card. So this card, once it is built and deployed, it can be consumed from variety of ways, right? One is that you can once you enable the connections, your home site will be tied into your Teams, right? From there also you can come and take a look at it. That is where basically you land. That is the first page. And also from your internet also you can go and view from dashboard. And then also from mobile you can view. So these are the various offerings that it brings. Those are really great. So yeah, I'm gonna show you like how this card has been built, and then it is working real time actually. So moving on to technologies, yeah, obviously we use SharePoint framework, TypeScript, and REST query as well. REST query is to query the SharePoint in order to retrieve that information, weather information. And then SharePoint framework obviously brings this extensibility feature. I mean, using SharePoint framework only, you can build adaptive card extensions, right? So that purpose we used that one. And then moving on to next slide. Yeah, the inspiration for this whole thing has come from this particular web part from the samples. Where there is a specific sample that basically performs all the CRUD operations, create, retrieve, update, and delete operations against a SharePoint list. So that is what inspired us basically. And then there is a little bit of learning curve that involved when you're working with the AS cards. So basically that has to do with the JSON and how you want to format it and how you want to display it. So with that, yeah, we were able to build, and this is what inspired us to build that one as well. And then moving on to the next slide, let's take a look at the demo. So this is what the initial offering look like on the dashboard, right? Once you click on that, it is going to bring up the locations information like this. So these are the locations for each of them. It will bring the weather information, and I've used all those color things and then manipulating the image as well. So, and also used the background for this. So in the end, it came out very well. So let me stop here, and then let me show you how this looks from a Teams environment and a SharePoint environment, things like that. Let me jump back to the VM. So let me bring up this ping. Yeah, this is what. Yeah, this is my Teams experience. So once I click on this one, right, go to the connections. This is the first page we see, right? So in here, this is the card. Obviously, this earlier I was talking about this card. This is the inspiration for us to do the SharePoint list way. So this is what that card look like. So let me refresh so that it can fetch the latest information. So once, yeah, and now it is ready. I think once I click on this, you can see all this information is been displayed like this. for each of these locations. So yeah, yeah, that's about it. And let me walk you through the code part as well. So obviously, there is nothing much in here. This is a simple SPFx code, and then, like I said, I've used the same, SP service function from the samples example. Basically, in here you'll see all the functions such as how to insert, how to retrieve, how to update, delete, things like that. From there, I only have to use just retrieve information from this SharePoint list. This is the SharePoint list, and these are the properties that I'm bringing using a REST query. Once that's been retrieved, I'm going to fill in my list item object. So I have to incorporate a little function here to be able to manipulate the image, which image that I need to display. So here is that little function for each of the line item. It goes and looks at based upon the various outcomes. I mean, day conditions or rain conditions. I'll have to implement a little logic here to be able to dynamically display the images that we're seeing out there. So yeah, that's about it. And yeah, and the other part is, like I said, when you're working with cards, you will have a quick view, and then you'll also have a card view, right? Card view is what the front one, initial one that we see here. Basically, it has got a title like this one. It has got a title and image and a quick view link button. So once you click on that action button, it'll also tries to load you this quick view. That is where all your actual logic exists. So we also ended up doing this building this JSON as per the look that we wanted. I've also incorporated those colorings and images, things like that. Yeah, I think that's about it. I think yeah. Let
all
me.
right.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Finally, yeah. I think so. We wanted to. We can enhance this. We also have an office around various locations, right? We can enhance this one to have a international locations as well by incorporating a paging technique perhaps inside that card. That is what we are looking at. But we are yet to test and see how the connector reacts to that idea, because now we are calling more and more locations. And there will be a limit, I suppose. If not, I think that would be a great thing as well. And finally, I would like to end my conversation by thanking David, Hugo, and then Vesa for the relentless efforts to bring forth the latest and greatest to the community, and so many other contributors as well. I would like to thank Nishkalank Biswad as well, who has motivated me with his presentation to come forward to present before this community. And then finally, I would like to thank my. I would like to end my presentation by thanking Aaron Archuleta, my manager, and Steve Pack, my director, who has supported me and encouraged me to, present my work before this forum. I think, yeah, that's all from me now. I'll see you guys again with something new and excited pretty soon, I guess. Yeah.
Awesome, Lakshmana. I love the zeal there and the excitement for that. So glad that you brought that to share with the community. Looking forward to your next one. Thank you so much for walking us through that super powerful ACE there for us to be able to utilize. So thank you. All right, well, let's wrap this call up, everybody. Really appreciate all of our presenters today, Ejaz, Sumit, and Lakshmana. Great stuff. Again, opportunities for everybody to come share with the community. We had first timers. It was fantastic. So we welcome more first timers and we welcome back our now veterans. So thank you all again. All right, we would love to get your feedback on our community calls, so let us know if things are working for you. If things are not, this helps us provide our management a scope and a perspective on the community's view of these calls and allows us to provide and scale them up. Now, we also have a Discord server for the community, which is growing. I think we've got over 700 to 800 now in there. It's a great one-stop shop opportunity to connect with all the different areas of the community, whether it be the recognition program, the video, CLI, all kinds of stuff is going on in there. So definitely get in there. It's no cost. It's free. We've set it up for everybody, so take advantage of that. It is a fun way to interact with everybody across the spectrum of the community. The recording will be available in 24 hours or probably in 10 minutes when I get it processed on the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform Community YouTube channel. You can access all of our YouTube accounts at ak.ms/community/videos. You're going to get a little message that says it's ready to download in the Teams chat. It's a pretty little liar. Don't believe it. It is trying to sell you Amway or something like that. If you're a Microsoft employee, you can, but you won't be able to access it otherwise. The best way is to go to the YouTube accounts and subscribe. We'll also share out on Twitter at Microsoft 365 Dev, at M365 PnP. Our next Viva Connections SharePoint Framework call is in 2 weeks, November 30th, and our next M365 Power Platform call is on November 23rd. That is a week from today, which is Thanksgiving. And yes, we will be here. We are a global community, so we are here, rain, sleet, snow, whatever, holidays, we're here for you. So definitely tune in there. I think Chris Kent's going to be back along with some other amazing community presenters. Thank you, everybody, for the fantastic call. All you do. We really would not have this community without the hard work and effort and passion of all of you. So thank you so much. We'll see you next time.